Tell us a story.
Yes, tell us a story.
Alrighty, we have finished our day. We're gonna let the gopher warm up a little bit because it is cold out there. And get warm and get on home. I'd made mention, story time. I'd made mention a while back about the groundhog hunting and how everything went. I used to have some of the most enjoyable times I could remember would be being out on the farm. Everybody else would be off doing other stuff, and it would be me and probably the farm dog. Great minds think alike. But I used to take a air rifle, and it was a Crossman. It wasn't the 760, the cheap model. It was the really nice, heavy, thick, long wooden one. Had the big wooden stock on it and the foregrip. And you put 3 pumps in it, and it was just about as powerful as a 22. It shot not a 1.77, but I think it was a 5mm. So not quite as big a round as a 22 cartridge, and about half the length of the lead. But it was, and they were shaped like a bullet. They weren't that little hourglass mushroom cheapy thing. So I really enjoyed that. I mean, you used to go out and just plink everything. So I got pretty good shot. I've always been a pretty good shot. So I would go out and plink everything with it. But out on the farm, you could walk for miles down the fence rows and stuff, and go out through there. And one of the farm dogs, I remember it was Rube. R-U-B-E, Rube. I called him Reuben James because he looked like a country dog. He looked like he was from the South. But he was huge, big-chested, large, broad shoulders, big neck. Had a collie type of look to him, but he had the wolf color. It's that gray mottled color. Huge, big dog. He was pretty stout. He was the farm dog, so if I'd go out, as soon as I grabbed the air rifle and would start down a fence row, you'd go down through there and there'd be old feed bins, old troughs laying down, boards, old farm equipment, fenders off of tractors, whatever it would be laying down, and underneath that would be rats. And we're talking big rats, big old hefty farm rats. And he was a rat killing machine. So I'd go up there and I'd have the gun ready, and I'd lift it with my toe just a little bit and kick it over. So if I'd kick a trough over or kick any barrel lids over, there'd be like 5 or 6 rats, and they go in. He would reach in, he'd reach in and just dive into the pile, and he'd grab them, crush them, shake them, flip them up into the air, and before that rat hit the ground, he'd be down grabbing another one. So he'd grab it, shake it, flip it up into the air, grab it, shake it. He'd go through 4, 5, 6. They could not get away fast enough. This dog was a rat killing machine, buddy. I thought it was great. I wanted to shoot a couple of them. That was the fun of it, being out there trying to keep the population down. You got to curb the excess a little bit, because there was a lot of rats out there, and they'd get into the corn bins and eat through everything. So I'd go along out there. Well, I mean, I knew he always killed rats, and I'm not talking about mice. I'm talking about your 2 handful of rat. We'd go out through there, and I'd see groundhog holes, and you could see where he would dig a little bit. He would dig down in there and reach and dig and stuff like that. Well, while he was digging the holes, I'd watch the other holes. It'd be on like an embankment. So he'd be digging in a hole over here, and then he'd look, and then he'd go over here, and he'd smell, and he'd go up to his shoulders in these holes, and he'd start digging. You could see where a groundhog would kind of gently peek out of a hole above it, so it was like apartment housing. He would come up this bank and he would peek up, and I'd pop him in the noggin with the pellet. Now, if I caught him in the eye or the nose or in the mouth or in the throat, I could pretty much make sure he was going to die. But if you hit him in the head, it just rattle off the top of his head, and they just go back in. Rube would go in there, and he got lucky one day, and he grabbed one, and he drug it out, and I thought, my God, I mean, it was a huge groundhog, He grabbed that thing, and I thought, oh no, he's going to get cut up. He would reach in, bite it, shake it, toss it. As soon as it hit the ground, he'd reach in, bite it, shake it. And this is a pretty good sized groundhog. I'd say about, 25 pounds or so. It's a pretty good sized ground. And he would flip that thing in the air. He'd grab it, and you could hear it yelping. He'd grab it, and he'd flip that 25-pound groundhog in the air just like he would the rats and stuff. Except he didn't go back and try and find another one. As soon as that thing hit the ground, he was right on it again. He finally grabbed it by the back of the neck, and he just heaved down on it. And finally, that was it. It gasped its last breath. And I thought, damn, Reuben, he just put it down, and that was it. He was done. He didn't, to my knowledge, he didn't eat him or whatever. He was just a rodent-killing machine. So I used to go out and hunt with him all the time, and we'd take off down through the fields, and we'd go clear back. I think it was 188 acres, so it was a patch. It wasn't really big comparatively to some of the other farms up there. But that you'd get in the truck, and if we were out on the tractor, he'd follow right beside the tractor. If you'd get in the truck, he'd jump in the back. If you were heading for town, you'd tell him to get out. He'd jump out and wait right there alongside the road just off the farm. When you got back, you slowed down, he'd jump in, and we'd go back, to the last little bit to the farm. But he was pretty cool. I really liked the dog. I mean, to me, that was a dog, Now we got mini dog, a little teeny, little fluffy dog and stuff. But we love her, but Rube was a dog. So, but that used to be what we used to do on the farm, and plink squirrels and rats mostly out of the barn and everything. And when the pigeons would get too thick, we'd plink those. But we never did eat the pigeons. A lot of people did. We didn't eat them because, of a lot of the disease that we're carrying out there. If they'd have been farther out, because they were coming from out town out to there, if they'd been farther out eating little squabble, eating little pigeons and stuff, that would have been all right with me. I've eaten everything else. I scrape stuff up off the road all the time and eat it, so. All right, we're going to get home. She's as warm as it's going to get. Sounding good. Let's ride. Being a kid or spending time in the woods, checking your trap line, just going out and wandering around. Wasn't nothing better than a big old farm dog. We made it home. I sure do miss those days when I could be able to get out and just walk, just go and do whatever. I mean, I can't walk like that anymore, but it's always cool. You grab your little 22 or your 410 or the air rifle, and you just go out and you just plink at stuff, rocks and fish, whatever. Days when you could spend time with your best friend, which is usually a dog, and going out there, and it's just good. Recalling all that kind of makes me all emotional. I'm gonna go in here and eat me 2 pounds of bacon. See ya!
Story time is over!